Today, we are talking about the big C word, confidence. The word that has conquered the self help space for years. The word that everyone tells us we need in order to chase our dreams, speak up, and go after the things we want. But what happens when the definition of confidence that we've been given doesn't actually align with who we are? I've learned that confidence isn't something we unlock overnight. It starts with something much simpler, redefining what confidence means to us. Welcome to the Roses and Real Talk podcast, where we grow through what we're going through, and we do this by sharing sweet moments, hard truths, stories of growth and grit, all with your host, Autumn. Hello, everybody. It is Autumn, back for another episode 4 of the Roses and Real Talk podcast. How are we doing? I'm feeling just good, I've said my last goodbyes to one of my friends. So slowly but surely I'm getting ready to say goodbye to my friends in our last hangout. So it's a little sad, but it's just so nice to know that I'm gonna have friends kind of like all over the country, which is kind of cool. But I'm gonna miss them. But let's get into our rose but thorn for this episode. So this week's rose for me has to be going out to dinner with a family friend. Recently I went out to dinner with a family friend and it was just really cool. I mean, it's always such a great time having dinner with family friends, but this time was especially fun because I got to just hear the experience of both my mom and her friend and what it was like for them growing up and going to college together in the early 2000s. And it was just really cool and kind of like seeing the difference between now versus then and what college life is like and getting a lot of advice, of course. But that was something I'm really grateful for. And I just love getting to understand the perspectives and the way life was back in the day. So that was pretty cool. My butt is, I feel like time management, I'm getting a lot better with it. I feel like part of growing up is also having like a lot to do at the same time. So I feel like I've been getting better at my time management. And I think my thorn definitely has to be overthinking and just worrying about what it's going to be like when I get to college. Maybe some of the hard decisions I'll have to make. But I'm starting to kind of shift my perspective around college and about the things that are worrying me. So I'm happy and proud of myself for that. So that is our Rosebud Thorn segment, and let's just get into what today's episode is about. Today, we are talking about confidence, not how to become confident overnight, but how I personally have been learning how to grow into confidence myself. I will preface that I do not have all the answers, and I'm definitely still figuring out, but I'm learning along the way with you all. And my hope is that something that I share today resonates with you and will help you on your journey to confidence. So, without further ado, let's get into this talk. Before I begin to really talk about how I'm growing my confidence, I want to talk about what I believe confidence was and looked like when I was younger. And when I mean younger, I mean like middle school, beginning of high school. So if you asked me in middle school or freshman year, I would have told you that confidence is being brave, not caring what others thinks. It's like strutting into every room you walk in and grabbing everybody's attention. That was my idea of confidence. My idea of confidence also stemmed from what I saw in the media, in movies, TV shows. One of the people that I looked up the most in media is Moesha. I love how she navigated all different types of situations, from going to private school to public school, how she navigated those friendships, those different, ways of life and living and values. I loved how she was really able to balance who she was with the environment she was in and stand firm in who she was. So I think that was a very positive way in which I saw confidence. I also saw what confidence meant in social media. I remember I loved watching and still do like watching self-help YouTube videos about confidence and just growing. But I would hear great advice. But also I would hear some interesting advice too. when I would look at social media, I would hear that confidence looked like doing all the scary things while you're still scared. Confidence looks like being confident all the time, even when you didn't feel good. I heard that confidence was easy to gain in one day, or once you wake up, you can flip a switch, or after you watch one video about confidence. I also got an understanding that confidence had to be dominating, and that when you walked into a room, people had to sense that you were a confident person. Those were the ideas of confidence that I was getting purely from social media and things like YouTube videos. And so, because of what social media was showing me and what I was consuming and seeing in the media about what confidence looked like, of course, I'm going to try to use those tips in my daily life. I would try to walk into rooms in middle school and try to be the most dominating person in the room. I would talk over people. I would try to make it seem like it was something natural for me when it was not who Autumn was. I'm definitely someone who likes to step in and step back. And at that time, I was always trying to, speak, always put my input in. And I'll be honest, it led to what I was saying becoming less valuable. I was just kind of saying stuff to portray confidence. And lastly, I think I would focus a lot on my appearance because I had this notion that confidence stemmed from outward perception, and that for me, that would come from how I dressed. And I'll be honest, this is what I thought confidence was for a good 2 to 3 years. But when I would follow these ideas of confidence, I didn't feel confident. And so I want to break down why that is. So there are multiple reasons why I continue to not feel confident, even though I took on the values and mindsets of people that I had deemed confident or were teaching me about confidence. One of the main reasons why I continue to not feel confident was because the advice and the media that I was consuming didn't align with me and my life. For example, I was 15 taking advice from a 20-year-old. And not that that is bad, because I think there is so much wisdom in age and just living life. But the confidence that they were talking about and the way in which they were applying it, maybe that's to their life in college, in their jobs, corporate jobs, etc., it didn't align with me being in high school. It didn't align with me being younger. And so taking advice from a person that was 5+ years older than me it's okay and was okay, but I wasn't picking and choosing what I needed to apply to my own life, causing me to not feel confident or get the results that I needed or was looking for. Next, I was showcasing confidence in ways that were not needed. I was showcasing and trying to feel confident with my outfits, with my hairstyles, with the way that I was showing up in the room. And while I do think that last one, the way you show up in rooms, is important to confidence, I don't think I was doing it in a way that was authentic to myself. And I think lastly, I needed to work on myself internally rather than externally. During that time in my life, I didn't journal as I do now. I didn't journal before bed. I didn't journal when I had a lot on my mind. I didn't journal when I didn't feel confident. I didn't make time for myself to understand what I needed for myself and what confidence truly looked like for me. Once again, I was taking someone else's idea of confidence and the way in which they can apply it to their life and applying it to mine. And at the end of the day, it just didn't work for who I was. And so I think this is really important to know. In a world full of people and media that are projecting their beliefs of what confidence looks like, the definition of, for example, confidence can quickly become convoluted. And people can start to kind of forget the true meaning of it or what it means to them personally. And so I found it necessary to ask myself, and I didn't realize this really till junior year, I needed to ask myself, what does it look like for Autumn to be confident every day? And once I asked myself this question, I became more confident than ever, and I truly found what I needed to be my most confident self. I'm so happy that I asked myself this question. I truly began to understand the confidence that I actually needed. When I first was thinking about confidence in middle school, early high school years, I thought confidence was being brave, not caring what others thought, strutting into every room and grabbing the attention of others. But once I asked myself this question, it became somewhat like an evolving way of acting, living, and feeling on a day-to-day basis. I remember I sat down and wrote, I said, what does it look like for Autumn to be confident? And then my definition, confidence, arose. So now my definition of confidence is about feeling and being comfortable in the things I want to do, I want to wear, and I'm doing it for myself and my happiness. And I know I talked about, confidence doesn't come externally, but I think a part of me being confident is pouring into myself and my happiness. And one way that I did this was wearing shoes or outfits that conventionally people like my mom or my friends wouldn't pick out, but it would make me feel confident and happy. And I'll be honest, I love the sandwich method when it comes to outfits. And while others thought it was too basic, that's what made me feel confident, and it eased my mind when picking out an outfit. And I think this does kind of intertwine with my old definition of confidence, which is like not caring what others think. But I kind of shifted and I put it as a way of doing it for myself and my own happiness. So that's how my definition of confidence evolved in that way. I know my senior year of high school, one of the things that I wanted to do was doing the little things that would scare me. I wanted to expand my relationship between bravery and confidence. I began to associate confidence with preparedness, but also confidence was doing the things I knew I was prepared to do and doing it with the full belief in all the work I have done to get to the point that I was at. And so with this, I led school-wide events and I did what scared me. I spoke in front of 200 kids almost every Friday in high school. What else? I hosted events. I put on school dances. I planned it. I made announcements. I did so much. And it was because of my new definition of confidence, which was solely believing in myself. So the more I continued to redefine and reinvent what confidence was for me, I began to grow more confident. And let me tell you, it feels so good. Redefining what confidence is and looks like has been a game changer for me, and I feel like it can be a game changer for you. Now, when I make yearly vision boards, I don't just simply put the words confidence, but I have actionable steps, goals, mindsets that are associated with it. And so through my journey to grow my confidence, I learned that I don't need more confidence. I just needed a better definition of it. And I need to understand what it genuinely felt like for me and what it looks like. And while, let me tell you, I do have my days where I'm not the most confident, it still is a work in progress, but I think I have set a good foundation for myself. And I think that's all you can do is just set that foundation. And if you keep working with it and building it, you will grow. So that is my story about how I've grown my confidence, how my understanding of confidence has changed. And I know this is a little bit of a longer episode, but I hope it is just as valuable and meaningful. And so I would love to leave you all with the reflection question for today, which will help you go on your journey to redefine confidence, which is, what does confidence look like for you? What does it genuinely feel like for you? And what does it look like? Just think about that. Write that down. Write a list, okay? And I'm telling you, it's actually really fun because in the process of it, you're making and visualizing subconsciously who you want to be and who you want to grow into. So I hope you all really enjoyed this episode. I loved recording this episode. I'm so passionate about this topic. This is something that's been on my heart for a while, and just redefining what confidence means to you. I think as long as you understand what it means for yourself, you can throw that dictionary definition out the window, okay? So yes. But I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you guys will come back next time for another podcast episode. I have some really great ideas in the works, but I appreciate you all being here today, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week, day, night, evening, morning, whatever. And with that said, I'll talk to you all later. Bye.